Hi everyone. I decided to do my project on American Sign Language. I decided to think outside the box and not use an actual language from the spoken word. I thought that this would be really interesting. It's not something that I know a lot about, so I decided to take it to another level. I learned a lot about the history of sign language and how people thought that it was originally brought over by a guy in France, and it wasn't. He got here in 1817 and found out that when he was starting to make a school for the deaf in Hartford, Connecticut, that they actually knew a lot of their own different signs that they already had. Um, this was thought of as natural sign instead of American Sign Language, which turned out to be a whole different thing. The most important part to know is that there's different sign languages all over the world. So there's British Sign Language, French, West African, um, African, Europe, all those different places. And American Sign Language is just part of that. We in English, we have so many different dialects and how we say words and all that kind of stuff. And sign language is the exact same way. We, the deaf, tend to use slang in some of their signs, like we use slang in words, like wanna instead of want to. A lot of sign language is blurred together. And when you think of sign language, you think of harsh movements, and a lot of the movements aren't like that. So, as for the phonetics of American Sign Language, they're thought of as having like the 5 parameters of American Sign Language. They are palm orientation, hand shapes, movement, location, and non manual markers. These are really important because some signs it's important to have your palm facing you, facing somebody else, to the side, open, shut, all that kind of stuff. It's really like if you are talking in the third or the first person. It's a lot of minor details that really add up in the end. It gives your signing more meaning and more emotion when you're using the correct parameters. And it's just like how you move your voice up and down. It's the exact same thing, except for obviously people can't hear, so you have to use the correct movements. So for movement, the location is key in some signs. There's a lot of signs that can mean the same thing if you do just one slight thing wrong. Like, for example, summer. You can sign the same exact thing for ugly or dry. And the difference in that is only the location of your hand in each sign. Summer is placed on your forehead, ugly under the nose, and dry is under your chin. And if you mix those up, it can make a whole total disaster. And then the other one is non-manual markers. This is more hand shape while you're communicating through ASL, which is very important, and it shows the meaning of certain words. So writing in ASL is obviously going to be a little bit different than writing in regular English, Spanish, French, all those kind of things. Each language obviously has their own alphabet and ways that the letters are formed, and sign language is the exact same way. The most common way to write sign in an academic type of way is sign writing. This system was formed in 1974, so not too long ago, and it was actually developed by a dancer named Valerie Sutton, and it was per request of sign language researchers at the University of Copenhagen, and she developed a way for writing dance movements. So she thought that they thought that she could be the best option to write sign movements, and this is designed to be able to write any sign language precisely. So they use symbols for the letters and phrases and all that kind of stuff. They also included writing for non-manual features. It's really important because that's what helps show your emotion and what you're really feeling and meaning. It's written in top to bottom in columns. Hi. And the symbols can be rotated in 8 directions and placed anywhere in the writing area. So it's based on your own personal preference of how you want to write it. And in many countries, it was recently chosen as the writing system for preliminary ASL translation. So American Sign Language has a different syntax. The order of their words in a sentence follows a topic-comment arrangement. This is also called subject plus predicate sentence structure. For example, it'll be week past me wash car, or week past car wash me, instead of like I washed my car last week. And you'll often see this structure as time plus topic plus comment, which you just noticed in that example that I gave you. So it's a little bit different than ours, and it's pretty confusing to get at first. I was so confused when my friend was explaining to me how that works. It took me a really long time, definitely more than 3 hours, and it would take a lifetime to understand all of the different phrases and words that you use in American Sign Language. For our case, and in the teacher credential program, I am a teacher could be signed I teacher I teacher, teacher I, things like that, and or where you're from. I am from San Diego could be signed as I from San Diego I. And it's just little things like that that kind of get confusing and take a lot of practice. So, that's it for my video. I'm super, super grateful for my friend that kind of took me through and showed me the ropes of American Sign Language. I think that I got a lot out of this, and I'm really, really happy that we had this as our final project. I think learning about different languages is so important, and especially in our world today, we're so diverse. And I know San Diego, we all learn Spanish, but I'm happy to see that in a lot of schools they're learning French and Mandarin and things like that, and I think it's really important in the world that we live in today. I don't know if I gave you this backstory, but I learned some sign language in 2nd grade because my teacher's sister was deaf, so we learned how to say, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. How is your day? How are you doing? Do you like blank? And I lost a lot of it in the past couple years. And it was interesting to see how fast that actually came back to me. So I'm glad that I went through this process, and it definitely took more than 3 hours with my friend, but it was a good time for catching up too, and learning about American Sign Language. Hopefully you guys have a chance sometime to learn about it too.